Ba-bum-bum-bum-bum. The following takes place between midnight and 1 a.m. on the day of the California presidential primary. Events occur in real time. Kuala Lumpur, starring with Kiefer Sutherland. Yes. Sarah Clark. Lisa Cooper. I'm Jack Bauer. And Dina Haysbert as Senator Palmer at this time. I'm not president yet. Yeah. We're now in Kapoor. Also, executive producer Joel Snow. As we get the information from NSA and CIA sent back through the satellite and on to Los Angeles at 12:02 in the morning. We also have Cochran and Joel Snow, Robert Cochran as the writers, and there is Walsh and Senator David Palmer's campaign headquarters, and there is Palmer's wife, Sherry, and she's using a Ducasse pot. It's in white. At 12:03, there is a ranch-style house, which belongs to Kiefer Sutherland's Jack Bauer. Yes, season 1. Freshen upon it, playing chess versus Kim Bauer. Thank you. And Kim's thinking on it, and she's glad that he moved back in the house, and also because she's gonna beat him in chess. But now she's gonna express the fact that she's glad that he moved back in the house. I thanked her for it, not so much for the chess loss, and it was a cool night. Good night and good luck. And she just dissed her mom, and Kiefer comes in to talk to Terry, and then they got into such young love. And there's a Coldplay poster in Kim's room, but no Kim. And there is Jack checking Kim's room, and still no Kim. While we're in there, there's a Green Day poster, a Tupac, and a Linkin Park poster, and nope, a phone call for Jack. This is Jack Bauer. Terry seems concerned. Could happen at 12 midnight. Probably not good, and our daughter's missing. Just look, I'll go and check into work, and then from there, well, anyway, that was Nina, and Nina with, I can't think of her name right now, the tech, and there, Nina's going to check in with Tony, and Tony is going to not take that order unless it came from directly top, and that's counterterrorist unit 1209, Jamie, the tech person, and, thank you, and, let's see here, Jack Bauer, the 4-screen split in 24, and there's Tony, and the CTU unit, which is pretty much just a sound room at this point, not a lot of funding, but some satellites, judging with the Sears paneling, pegboards, and open space with the sound stack servers, not in smooth towers, just in different types of servers, whatever works. So it just, there's Kim. We find out where she snuck out to, one of LA places, and she's in Los Angeles with her friend Janet York, and she switched her clothing, and she's meeting with Super Rick, and Rick is there with the van, the purple van. Purple rain, purple rain. Not sure if Prince ever performed in Los Angeles. I think he did. Where Purple Rain is set. Tragic. There's Maureen Kingsley at 12:12 with Jack Bauer as he's trying to find his daughter and answer some disturbing traffic information from the government agencies, and the Homeland I think existed at that time, but some of the departments are still kind of new. There's Jamie Antonio waiting in the office with Nina, and Walsh just walked in, and Jack is sealing them in for super conference, and no one believes that they have to be there at midnight for super conference because that can't be accurate. No information could be that morning. It's probably just some thread or some cool poster thing that's not a cool poster. But this information for Jack and for the rest of his team is going to turn out to be very, very different and serious. Also, behind the serious is presentation dimmer switches in the presentation room. I just thought somebody should know that. And from there, 12:22, there's Kim with Terry still worrying, and there's Rick in the furniture store, and now Jack. And the three painting joint as they're trying to figure out what's going on with the assassination attempt on Palmer. And as we can catch up with Mandy, who is smoothing up to the photographer to steal his ID, and so that they can gain access with their sniper into the meeting to get Senator Palmer. Meanwhile, Kim is explaining herself, and Jack is changing in his office to meet Mason from District, and Mason's under Chappelle, and he is kind of a good guy, but kind of shady. Stole $200,000. Well, we'll get to that. And he is letting them know about the information, but he's not doing so. He's not looking anything up. He's just blowing Jack off. And Jack is going to get information from him, and he's going to do it in a counterterrorism manner. So he's going to check a kit, and from that kit, he's going to ask Nina for a binder, and in the binder, to not alarm Mason, he's going to stick his tranquilizer gun in the binder. Yes, because Jack is pretty rogue, and he's going to now take out the tranquilizer gun from the binder and proceed to shoot Mason with the tranquilizer gun straight in the leg, and then hold him down until the tranquilizer takes effect. And then he's going to sit there and explain that he needs the password permits released on a proclaim on the disk, and he's not getting that information, so he's going to wait it out from George. And while he's waiting it out, and also with Nina, he finds his daughter's journal, and he's realizing that maybe tabs and keeping the whole family together before all this hit was an important thing, because it's going to be a trying 4-painting day of Palmer, Kim, Mandy, and Jack, and now Alan York calling Terry, who's also getting an omen, because when he called, she dropped the glass for her coffee out of her hand, and from dropping that, it hit the floor and broke, like a lightning striking a tree, and like something is going to happen, and it's got everybody worried. That's the bank account, and like something's about to break, like a family or breaking of bad news. And there's Kim, but so far everybody else is doing pretty great. Kim's at a party, and they're laughing at their friends getting on, and that's Rick and Kim, and their drinks, we're in the van, and even kissing. And speaking of getting it on, we're back to the photographer and Mandy, and that's getting pretty steamy. They are now about 3 or 4 inches away from each other's face, off and on, and we're checking out his photo and other things. And both are doing it in front of each other, as gazing around them. The Googling from the NCIS with a character, Zeba, yeah. And there's Palmer, and he's telling the greatest moment that he had, and Sherry's showing expression for it, which was that field goal kick, and seeing it go through, said, no, Kim hit the field goal of the shot in the NCAA Final Four. But now he's closed off to information. That's the first Lady Macbeth time that we see Sherry not liking, did not hold the strains of power. That's the plastic surgery on the assassin of Sniper, and that's Manny being amazed for their entry point of the Sniper, and that's the attack on Wallace. While gathering information, Jack comes to the rescue with his gun, and he's still kind of just a guy, he's showing shock and just sticking into it, so he's going to reload we're going to find some more people, but we need to identify some people, so no time to do that without taking a thumb. So he takes a thumb, and he's rendezvoused with Wallace, and they're going to tag team up out of here to get some information on the Palmer hit back to the CTU unit. There we see Kim doubting that Rick was such a good guy, and now he won't help her, Janet, and he's turned into a bad guy, and it looks like we're in a bad party. Kim is now officially in the understanding that she's at a bad party. Rick is trying to consolidate her and touch her, but she doesn't want to be touched from somebody who had that lead in. There is Mandy, and Mandy is looking stunned at the face of the photographer. That's Jack with Walsh at the moment, and he is stunned at the look of his boss and mentor being shot by the sniper, who is trying to use get the key card, the magnetic strip of information in his right hand to Jack, so that they can analyze the information and identify the hitter and save Palmer. It really is a card there, and from there there's Jamie talking to Kiefer, and we've got him doing the magnetic strip for it, and he's about to scan it, and in scanning that he is going to switch from the optical scan and magnetic scan so that he can read that card. It's like a credit card, and he's going to recover the information off of it and basically office scan it, one-piece scan it over to Jamie from his car and Wi-Fi it to her through the cloud. And that same strip is on a credit card, an example there. Now back to Kim. She really doesn't want to talk to Rick, and she wants to go home. They're trying to get her out of the pleasure cruiser van so that she can call her mom and let her know that she's not in trouble, but she tries to code word tell her that she is in trouble by telling her mom that she loves her, which she's never said before. Mason, still passed out here, and Jack is standing over him, and he's going to start slapping him around and back into consciousness, and he's going to find out what other information is on the card. And here he loads up the wire transfer, the $200,000 that he stole during a DEA case, and he's pointing and looking at it slyly at the computer. And Mason's like, look, don't even bother sending it. There's your information. You don't have to blackmail me anymore. And Jack gives him his briefcase back and tells him to have a great night. And it's like, you'll always be looking over your shoulders, Jack. And he's like, probably. But at least I'm on the right start. Yeah, the right path. That's Aaron. He was in the first season. That's the Secret Service. And he's trying to warn Palmer that his life is in imminent danger. There is Kim. Now she's got tape on her. And that's Ira Gaines, her new mentor, caretaker, kidnapper. And that's the guy that just shot a cop. No on that. And Bauer wants to interview him. And that is Kim with Rick after Dan gets killed. And that is Jack at the hospital trying to follow leads, throwing a guy against the wall and frisking him for some medicine that he's trying to take to his brother in the hospital, because Jack was starting to lose it from the family night. And they were consolidating this guy, and they were like, we're taking care of your brother. And Jack threw his briefcase, and and then there's Carl, and Carl was trying to fix David from his family event in a underneath way, and that's Ira fixing Jack's life in the hospital and keeping an eye on him, and also not making his family night going smoother and intervening in that. So we went from family togetherness of Palmer and Terry and Jack and Kim to just chaos. That was Terry, and she had she was being kidnapped, and that's Rick trying to help Kim out of kidnap. That's Milo trying to get information off the card, who was also in the first season as a programmer. And Rick is still trying to apologize to Kim, and she begrudgingly admits that she really likes Rick, and it was a good start. And they're going to try to work that out together, and then Kim's mom ends up being transported there, and Jack goes to the presidential meeting, or senator's press rally for jobs at a meeting that morning, at the electricity plant, and steam turbine. That was Jack signing in and giving putting his fingers on the trigger of the gun and handing the scope of that sniper rifle. It's like a SOCOM 45 with an extended barrel so that it can shoot like a rifle. And there's Palmer there at the rally with Sherry, still at his side, although now she's starting to question what David is saying at the podium, even though she's really not the runner. She's correcting his policy behind his back, like in the way he runs the office and who he's going to run it with, the handshakes he's going to have. And that's Ira still watching and waiting. There's a photographer who is the photographer. He's the sniper with the plastic surgery. He's checking in with one of the Secret Service agents to get a different angle. And that's him assembling the gun there. And with the fingerprints and getting that shot ready next to that safety valve. And that is Palmer in the distance. And Jack can't do anything, but he sees the gun of the Secret Service agent. So he goes for it and gets chokeslammed to the ground, and the guy screams out gun. They get Palmer out of there away from the sniper shot, and the earpiece falls out of Jack's ear, and he tries to tell him not to hurt his family, which they plan on doing. That's Ira, but he decided that they still need the women, and so they go to phase B of the plan, and Jack gets arrested at the plant. Then Jack talks to Frank, and Frank is like a district guard like Chappelle, and he's like, go ahead and have a seat, Bauer, this could be a long one. And he starts making phone calls. There's his badge, and he tries to understand Jack's story, but he sympathizes but can't do anything, and he tries to send him to district, and so that's what he's going to do. And then he's like, I'm going to lose my family at that time, but Jack just agrees to it. That's at 8:09:52, 8 hours after the start. And then Jack sees the steam within the tunnel after being arrested to go to district, and he notices that they all have to pause to the steam, and then the steam clears, and from there Jack is going to see one of the levers and hit the steam, and the steam is going to go off in that steam plant, chemical plant, or electric turbine plant, and he's going to send the steam right into the Secret Service agent faces and district faces of CTU, and they're going to get burned, and Jack is going to start running away through the tunnels in a mad dash of panic over hot pipes and cuts and things, and trying to use his jacket to avoid steam burns against piping, and keep hitting more pipes on levers to flip them up to keep burning more people as they dodge and weave in between the release steam valve of heat in the face. And he makes it to the outside before they do, and he throws one of the civilians out of the way, tells them to stay down, and they do, and he keeps running. The Secret Service never really get a clear shot. They are running after him, and he's running through that whole plant there, and from that whole plant you start getting more of an angle of how far Jack has to cross to get out of there. And he's still running. He's got a pretty good distance on him, and he looks for other angles, can't find one, and he sees crates, some pallets stacked on their sides, and then he goes over a fence, and there's something but brush hill underneath that's too steep to run, and in panic, and he falls over and has to tuck and roll down the whole entire hill out in California, which is the Santa Barbara and other places must be fairly hilly, from next to that coastal reef, of the Pacific. And there's a woman there, and he takes out one of the guns that he got from the Secret Service through the steam, and he carjacks her. And from that carjack, he gets in there with his still handcuffed into the car and tells her to drive. And from that drive, he points the gun at her, and she takes him to where she wants to go, and she listens to his story and understands that she's a waitress with a DUI, and she wants to leave, and he explains that he's never been this scared in his life despite all his missions. And against this picture backdrop, like The Insider, with the Paradise Lost or in Paradise to go to a special place like Collateral with Jamie Foxx. He goes to a special place and he passes out for like 15 seconds. He just falls asleep. The adrenaline wears off and he goes out in his chair. On this insider, he saw Wygant saw his daughter in the painting or something, and he went off into the distance. And this, he wakes up and she agrees to get the bolt cutters that he sees, and he follows her through that, trusting her that she'll go and do so. And she kept looking back, but she wanted to help the guy out, so she does so. And he's still watching her through the office window, and that she comes back with the bolt cutters, and in there she applies that to Jack's hands, and of course he's freed. Now he can actually move his hands a little bit better than being handcuffed. And then he escapes out the office manager's window behind some scaffolding, gets in contact with Nina, and gets back up to the camp. She sends him on the Palm Pilot, or PDA, personal digital assistant, some map stuff. And here, Palmer is traveling. That's with Mike, his chief of staff, and Bauer's using his gun to get in. There's Ferragamo, and Ferragamo is going to end up mysteriously dead in an fire accident along with the files against Keith, and killing Cal Gibson. And that Super Rick driving back with the van after Bauer sneaks in with the gun, and helps his family get onto the van to rescue them. See there, and that's him in a gunfight with a different gun behind the wheels in the car, and Rick is trying to help out. He grabs an Uzi and spray and pray. Gives Jack cover. Car gets pretty shot up, and then Jack uses the car, takes out that black sheath knife that he has, and he cuts the fuel line, and then uses the Uzi from Rick after Rick gets hit in the arm, and he shoots at the van here, and it explodes. And he's going to use that van as a weapon against enclosing enemies, and they're going to go flying through the air. And from there, it's a really big fire. I mean, like, there's like more fire, and Jack's going to go into the woods and find more, and try to catch up with his family. Ira's going to talk to the Dresdens, and then he's going to talk to Alberta Green, for a backup from CTU. He's going to reload again, and he's going to go searching for Kim out in the woods, and he's going to search for also Terry, his wife, and Kim. They have the Palm Pilot, but they also have one of Ira's men who finds them first, and he gets through the door because Jack shot him there. And it was a pretty intense battle. He had to pull two guns, and he shot the guy, and he fell backwards through the door with his weight in that shed out in the woods. And then he checked on his family to make sure that they were okay. And then there's the Cubs fan of Tony with Nina looking at Belgrade information. That's a piece of toaster, and that toaster, Jack's going to bend it so that it catches more sunlight, so that it can block the view of Ira with the sniper rifle. And he's going, it's a pretty sweet wood sniper rifle, can't see the target of Jack, and Jack is going to use the sun to flank him to get closer to that sniper rifle, while the CTU drops in with their sweep helicopters, and then he gets Ira, and then from there he sneaks up behind Ira, and even though he was doing a misleading blood trail, and then Ira pulls a gun to shoot Jack, and from there Jack drops Ira because he didn't want to look over his life from the Dresden assassins, the way they would take him out or be interrogated for the way they were going to interrogate him to a breaking point. And he regretted doing that. Ira knew a fair amount of information. And if you check him out on a wiki, there's Rick and he's leaving, and that's Jack with his family. If you go into Bing or Google and Bing rewards, you'll find that he has an interesting background. I think he was a chemical engineer turned mercenary, and bought like high-end items and did high-end jobs with his process plan. It's pretty interesting. There's Chappelle. He is in the first season, and he interrogates Jack about trying to rescue his family. There's Dresdens and Alan York, and there is Cass Steele from Supernatural, Misha Collins, and that's Jack now explaining that in interrogation to Alberta after explaining it to Chappelle, and that's one of the Dresden brothers pretending to be an FBI agent, and Nina seeing him and not feeling that he was FBI, felt that he was different. There's the chick that was with Misha on Senator Palmer's staff, chick, and she was giving them information about Palmer's schedule so that he can be assassinated. And that's when the Dresden brothers dropping his FBI cover to go follow Terry and Kim to the safe house. And from there, we're in New Orleans with Robert and I want to say Mathis. And with Mathis, he had the secret information at nightfall. Palmer wanted to get back at Bauer because the whole day had been leading up to him as some type of blame. And Kim is at the safe house at 224. But eventually they understand that they're on the same side, not against each other, because they were both in that Operation Nightfall and Clear and Present Danger Reciprocity. And the more details identifies that the Dresden's daughter and wife at the bunker that they mishit. Nina is interrogating Terry for what happened, and that is Nicole Huskable as the daughter Palmer. She was a rape victim, and they're trying to cover up Nicole's thing there. Jack's in his suitcase there, along with Polly Perret, who's trying to help Terry with her amnesia after the safe house is hit. And she takes her to a place that she recognizes and turns her over to a doctor. Kim also escapes, and she goes back to Rick and bumps into Navi Rawa of Numbers, and she's upset with Rick and bringing that chick there, and there's more family dysfunction going on because they can't believe Kim is there, and everybody's family is once again kidnapped and not where they're supposed to be and not in harmony. And then Jack bumps into Teddy. Teddy's mad about the agents that he bumped, and he wants to get even with Jack, and he's on the scope, and the Dresden guy's at the safe house waiting for Terry to get back, but she's not there currently. And then Jack is pretending to do this safe house, this power deal for information that the Dresdens paid $50,000 to shut off an electric grid. There's Kim and the whole Senator Palmer, and he is still running for president. There's Sector 26GG, that's out in Saugus. That's the grid that they want to turned off. That's Kim with another brother of Dan, and that's Palmer asking for them to leave Nicole alone on the TMZ information, not to take it too far. And that's Nina talking to Jack. That's the priest guy from Blade 2, and he's a DEA agent, and he's going to he's gonna get to Kim, but he thinks she's part of the drug deal. That's the Dresden guy who's going to shoot Terry, and he's like, he realized that something's wrong with her, and he's like, look lady, I just want to know what's going on. Tell me and I'll make this painless as quick as possible. But he gets shot in the back during his speech, and the person that shoots him in the back is Tony. Tony shoots him in the back and rescues Terry, and then Terry remembers through that shocking event that Kim is not with her. And she doesn't realize that Kim is still alive, or amnesia comes back, and she doesn't know that Jack's out there with a reconnaissance helicopter. And Saugus, and then one of the Dresden brothers realizes that Jack is there at a secret facility. They don't know why he's there, and that's Jinko Ivanik, and he's been in a lot of different parts and places. and Jack gets arrested at this secret facility that doesn't exist, and he gets electrocuted. Very dangerous because of the convulsions and the heart risk. And it turns out to be Lou Diamond Phillips, and he's the warden there. He convinces him to look at this presence. They don't turn off the power, and they get a Black Hood CIA prisoner at a random detention facility. There's Jack with a pretty sweet assault rifle, probably M14, and there's the priest guy again interviewing, debriefing these battle reports of debriefing, trying to understand what's going on. And whatnot. The person that they have is the insider of Spike Lee's movie Truth, but it's kind of slowing up interrogation when it's not the right person. There's Lou Diamond again trying to understand what Jack means and how bad that this matchup of time is. This is the prison where Kim's at. That's the prisoner identified, and it's Dennis Hopper, and he is Victor Dresden. He is the prisoner, like in Casablanca Gone Wrong, with Humphrey Bogart, and their bar is not a neutral site. Now it's a dangerous facility site that's being paid off to pass a dangerous criminal, and they're going to free him on American soil. And that is Kim and Senator Palmer and another reporter in the background. There's a lot of moments where you see a lot of different reporters that they suddenly show up in story, but they were already on screen somewhere in that type of sense. But J.J. Abrams lighting, that's really important with flash cam or shaky cam type thing, and it really set the stage for it. There is the women's prison again, and there's Kim with a lot of chicks, and there's chicks passed out, there's chicks in the night, there's gang chicks, there's leader chicks, punk chicks, biker chicks, the queen bee chick, and she's got a bee on there and a queen on it, and there's Kim just backing up into the corner, and there's some chicks holding down another chick to get the weed, and there's Navi Rawa in there, and they're like fighting or about to fight or just not about to fight, just the whole ground stuff within a prison. And that everybody's sitting back down, and then Queen Bee comes over and keeps stirring stuff, and she wants to give her the weed to make her take a blame for it in a joint. There's another chick, and a chick in the night, and then she tries to give it to Kim, and the guards come, and then they realize that Kim's story checks out, and then they're going to take her to her father at CTU, and also Navi Rawa changes her testimony. That's Dennis Hopper after being freed in there, and the Dresdens and the Serbia team have now got Jack prisoner, and they're explaining it to Jack while he's on the ground, how their plan is going to work, and they're going to jump into the van, and they're going to escape. During that escape, Jack barters with his life for Alexi's life, or Misha Collins' life, and Kim is also kidnapped during the same time while he's doing that bartering, and she kicks and fends off a little bit, but she's taken. Misha was stabbed by the chick that was cheating on him from the Senator Palmer, and she baited him and took a letter opener into his abdomen. There's Terry, once again, with the cup, ABA, from the cup to discord, back to the cup and thinking and meditation. There's a Serbian waitress there, and another bad omen is coming, and she can feel it. And like a Bushido code or some samurai thing, a Zen Buddhism. And that's Andre. And there's Patty, and she's being used by Sherry amongst all the reporters and pledgers, to dehinge David's presidency, or get him a payback with Sherry as far as a blackmail card that she could hold over David, but David didn't bite on it. And we don't really jump into this, but it's another Lady Macbeth, Bloods on Hand, King Lear engineering from Sherry that she did in a political sense to help David, but also kind of derail him, and that means so that she can have more power and control. And that's the Dresdens taking Bauer to a place, and from that place, he's going to be handcuffed, and a sniper is going to release him from his handcuffs, and after they get Alexei back from being held uh, by Mason in the hospital. And then they're going to leave, and as soon as they leave, then he's released and given a phone so that he can go tell Palmer about the funds, the money, and then they'll release Kim. And so Kim is still there, taped at the harbor, and then Jack goes to Palmer and explains the situation so that he can get his daughter, but Palmer explains that that money was already tanked. As soon as Dresden was arrested, there is no money. If he wasn't tanked, then why are we having this conversation? So they have the phone, and it's got plastic C4 and military grade, and they're like, that's what they want us to do. They want us to be in the same room together with the C4, so they throw the phone away, and of course it explodes. And in the explosion, it's a big explosion. They blew up in yet another set on 24. And then Jack saves President's life by covering him up in the hotel room. The Dresdens think they win, and they let that assassination continue. And Jack checks in with Terry and says that he's going to go get back Kim, even though they think that the assassination already went through, and the Dresdens don't know, so that's giving him an advantage. But Kim hits a guy with a cup of coffee and a whole pot of it right in his face, and then she just takes off. And just like her father with the steam tunnel again, and trying to bring back to harmony, and she hides, just like with the Paradise Lost thing there. And now everybody takes a family moment thinking like, man, this thing used to work, and I hope they're okay, and trying to, with the glass and the omen, that this omen is going to be a good come together omen. It's all going to work out in the end. And they reflect on that, and envisioning its victory. And then the Dresdens don't have Kim, but they make the call. And then Yelena breaks it to him that it was a trick to make you believe that. So keep that in mind. And Bauer's in line, and understand your playing card. And they're like, I'm sure, and we find out Yelena is Nina, and she's the last assassin or hidden mole within CTU. And Kim takes off and then jumps on over a fence, just like her father from the morning breakfast at the power plant. And Jack goes on the hide for her, and then can't find Kim. Jack can't find Kim, and then CB breaking news 11/12/12. Ooh, and 11/12/13. That's the time there, almost to the midnight hour. There's the Dresdens trying to figure out what to do if Kim's not there. But they threaten him anyway, and they use Yelena to threaten Jack and tell him that Kim's gone, and so he wants to avenge her death. But she's not gone; she's alive, but he doesn't know that yet. So he's gonna pull his stuff together, and he cries for a bit over Kim's death, and then stands up and he comes up with a plan, which is a hijacking or hot wiring a yellow van into the shop and right through the door for their anticipation behind them, and then he puts the car in drive and it keeps driving through objects, glass, boxes, things like that, into the shed. The van is too big for them to shoot directly, so they have to kind of dodge out of their way. And that takes away their advantage of shot on Jack coming from the front door instead of the back door with a van coming through it. There's a lot of stuff falling over, pipes and glass and things of that nature. He goes out the back door, and then he uses the van as cover like a tank, and he starts shooting on both sides of the van, and he takes out targets. And from there, he takes out like 7 today on that in this fight. It's gonna be 7 total plus 6 previous, and it's a real bloodbath. And although we never see any blood spray, double guns again. The Dresdens have to flee because the other 5 people in their posse are gone. Because the van flanking, he shot on the right and shot on the left and came back and shot on that, on their dodge with all the debris that fell over. And so now he's firing. That's him firing the double guns like worm fire, with his 245s and 2 9mm at the Dresdens as they run the harbor to get to the boat that's going to take them to international water. And Jack's not giving up on it because they told him that Kim was dead. So they're going, and they're, just he's going the distance. And they're doing it. Wow, I'm sorry. And he gets the 2 guns, and he gets he gets Andre, and then he gets Dresden, and it turns out that his gun actually had ammo in it, unlike the gun of Dresden, which was empty chambered, and Jack wasn't empty because he had 2 guns, and he was keeping track of his rounds better. And he shot Dresden, and he, like Disney, falls as a fallen angel into the water. Some cleansing or redemption or something in that nature. Jack empties out his 45 with the ammo in it. One of his guns were empty, but a second one wasn't. He just keeps firing until it's empty. And the Dresdens never make it to that boat, which would have carried them to international waters and out of the country. And their revenge on Jack costing their life. And Jack at least got a chance to close this chapter of Nightfall. And that's Yelena, who is Nina, and Nina Myers, and she's that's Sarah Clark, Bella's mother in Twilight. The first one, she's a cowboy hat and red hair, it's a little bit longer. And that's her covering up, shooting one of the technicians, and her cover was broke, and she's trying to get out there and get out of the CTU and download the information on the op that was used and sent it to Germany for future ops as a battlefield information. And Bateri, being worried about Jack, goes to look for Nina for a consultation, even though Nina slept with Jack during the Santa Barbara thing. And they're still kind of buds, and Nina's trying to encourage her, but Terry sees the blood, and she sees the briefcase and the paneling, and the blood's getting further out. She's like, "Let me get out of your hair." Yeah. And Nina's like, "I thought you were feeling too nervous to let it go right now." And so she makes her sit along the wall on her knees. And then we see Fosco from Person of Interest. He was at the dock, Navy Yard, shipyard, security, like Coast Guard security. And they talked to him, and they informed Jack that there was no body pulled out of the harbor. Meanwhile, Nina's consolidating information off the hard drive of CTU, and he's like, "Man, Nina lied to me. Why would she lie about that to Kim? So about Kim being alive and not dead." And he calls George Mason. They go on into the video archive and find it erased. And then Jack gives an override from the CTU district. Sherry goes in to talk to Palmer, and Palmer's had the last King Lear trick, or a Hamlet trick from his uncle, and he lets Sherry go. It's too much political engineering, and Secret Service keeps her out. And it's a different president, Palmer now, decision. That was a tough one. And there is Jamie with Nina, and Nina comes up from behind the erased video footage and goes to town on Jamie and kills her with a coffee cup, and looks up at the camera and remembers to erase it, and there she is looking like Heath Ledger as a Joker. And now it's 11:53, 7 minutes left in the show for the season 1. There's Nina putting the disc away for Germany, and there's a watch keeping time in sync, her sync, and there's Terry tied up, and then she used USB Ethernet cable cords to do so. And then she tries to console Game of Thrones. Terry's not buying it. And then Nina takes off through there, and she drops a guy, and much like Jack having through his day, and she's going to continue this tirade of dropping people. She hits the elevator, thinking pretty confident that she might get away, and she drops the other security guard the next level in the parking garage, and she grabs. She's going to get into her car to shoot from grabbing the keys of 66 on there, and Jack is going to come after her. He's going to do so when she's in the car, and they're going to have a shootout, no K Corral, through the car, through the windshield, and then he's going to pull Nina out of there, and he's going to take her by the throat and ask her why did she lie about Kim, and why did she betray the CTU. And it wasn't for the Dresdens, it was just for like money or her job for Germany, if that's what she works for. We don't really know. She's just an assassin. So Jack's had enough of the other people that died in her favor, and he's about to do Nina there rather than risk some type of legislative system. But they talk him out of it, and they arrest her, and Tony was there, despite season 7, becoming a rogue spy himself. And Nina goes into custody, and then Jack sees Kim, and he hugs Kim, and it's a long day, so he wants to see his wife, and there is his wife in the distance on the left, but he didn't realize it. There's a soundboard, phone board type thing, and he's still walking, trying to find his wife. It's like it's off, isn't it? Oh no. Yeah. And the security guard, then he goes into another room and he finds his wife. She's been shot, and in being shot, he can't revive her, resuscitate her. She's been she can't resuscitate her, and he's holding her while thinking of the first shots of their family, the chess game that they had at the beginning of the game, or beginning of the season, and there's him with Terry and talking to Terry, and just the memories that they had, the joy that they had, and he's apologizing to her for not continuing that joy and being there for her for that time to not be ended abruptly. And that is how we see Jack in the first season. That is the last 3 seconds of season 1 of 24. And there's the midnight hour. Jack pretends to get arrested so he can rescue Chloe on off in London. And bum 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 bum.